We take those, though. Give me my sen. Give me back to the temple. I need to take a breather. Whew! I have a friend who's super well read in Eastern philosophy and always blows my mind with some of the beauty of the Tao and Eastern concepts. I spent thousands of years meditating and cultivating some really beautiful philosophy that gets ignored by the West. Yeah, I I would agree with that. There's I think we should look at the ideas that are presented to us. Maybe some of them we can say I disagree with on a personal level. I'm specifically thinking of like political philosophies, simply because there's a wide spectrum and a lot of them are a little too wacky for me. Also, a lot of them are. We'll not go too deep into that, but let's just say I'm not the biggest fan of what's going on in the US. I'll read this out too. The gun fort of the Sunken Eyes is commanded by the Snake Eyes, an elite force of women able to pierce distant targets with mighty flint cannons and phenomenal vision. The Snake Eyes, gunning me down every chance they get. But yes, I think that we should reflect upon where not just what the philosophies are. Well, politics is the opposite of philosophy, lol, or at least the stuff I'm into. I would agree with that. It's a lot more individualism with the philosophies that I'm a lot more interested
You
in.
need something?
Here, let's treat the sculptor to a drink while I do the same.
I brought some sake.
Don't mind if I do. Oh,
Is it not to your liking?
no, it's damn good. But it does make my old wounds ache.
Your left arm?
Yes, and this sake was a favorite of the man who cut it off,
Who was
Lord Ishin.
Ishin? Why?
He did it for my sake. I was on the verge of being consumed.
Consumed by what?
Shura. Well, whether you believe me or not, that's for you to decide. But you do well to beware Shura's shadow.
He's right.
Another time, then. I'll lend you shelter anytime.
Let's pop some coin purses too. I have some upgrades I want to do on my weaponry. But yes,
You need
I think that
something?
using philosophy as a way to reflect inward and try and understand yourself a little bit more is the way to go. Not, we're so close.
Another time. I'll lend you.
Hang on, do I have... Let's go sell some crap to this guy.
You've caught it too.
Friend, I can't breathe. Damn it, I'm not gonna die here.
Oh yeah, selling. Let's sell... ashes? Why does this guy buy ashes for so much? Okay. With this 1,000, we will have the upgrade that I want for fighting
You
the monkey.
need
The spiral spear. Wait, is it just the thrust type? Am I misthinking?
Another time, then. I'll lend you shelter anytime.
I think philosophy goes hand in hand with your profession, really, to be a good hobby for you. I think so. I think spending more time studying philosophy would be something I would benefit from. That's why I'm writing them down. Like this this whole shebang for me, what streaming is to me is just I'm playing video games. I'm going to be here. I might as well do it trying to connect with others because I have enough I have enough time connecting with myself personally. And I'm extremely antisocial otherwise. So here I am. It's not really a profession, especially since I make I think last time I checked it was like 3 cents. I make like maybe a cent a stream, and that's from ads. And that's not really sustainable. But I think I'm going to lean into the editing. I don't know. This is me just talking. This is me thinking aloud. I think I'm just going to lean more into editing stuff for other people. Meant with psychology. Oh yeah. I I realized after getting my degree in psychology that it's either do more school and spend a lot of money doing that, which I may do further down the line, but first I need to, acquire that money, and especially with finances as is, and like it's a good ways out. I plan on maybe one day returning to school, getting a master's degree in social work or the like, and trying to assist others using philosophy as the stepping stone for connection, and also for individual betterment. I think is you are correct with that. I think using philosophy, like I've been saying, it's a lot of applied. Many different things are applied psychology, like economics, for example. Philosophy, I would say, is a form of applied psychology. I'm trying to think of what else there is. Pretty much anything that has to do with humans, even animals, there's psychology involved there. You got to understand where each individual is at, whether they are a human, a fish, a cat, or a dog. Individual experiences form the backbone of their life. I completely forgot that the antique map was a thing here. Whoops. Psychology, I think, was the good, probably one of the best moves for me to do in in the form of a degree. It gives me pivot points as well as helped me to understand more and more of myself, and also relating to others. Editing can be a good move. Lots of people editing, creating content. Yes. I think that's going to be the stepping stone for now. For that, Mr. Beast made it where he's primarily through understanding psychology and what people want to click, for better or worse in his case, but nonetheless. I have a lot of thoughts about Mr. Beast. I think that guy could do with some serious philosophic lessons of his own. Because that guy, I'm not I'm not really able to analyze who he is as a person, but what he said previously about like, oh yeah, I don't take my girlfriends on dates because it cost me X amount of money. I'm like, brother, if you spend your entire life seeking only money, that's the only thing you're gonna have at the end of it. And there's a lot more to a good life than money. Greed is a crazy thing. Yeah, that's the thing. Am I able to do an aerial assault on this individual? The greed of humanity on the mass scale is baffling to me. I'm not a very spiritual person, but God does he need some spiritualism in his life. That I agree with wholeheartedly. This chicken, get out of here. Damn you. Damn you, chicken. Oh, yeah, that's about as expected. I think I think embracing some form of spirituality is very important as people. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a religious, a spiritual generally, but it does make the lows a lot more manageable when one has a backbone of belief. It doesn't need to be spirituality so much as morality in any sense. Just the idea of having something to stand for, something to truly believe in, that you can turn to in your darkest hours. Because a lot of people do not have that. And it makes life a lot harder. He's made his career of analyzing and exploiting child psychology. But to my point, psychology is a huge tool of editing in videos. Oh yeah. Fully in agreement there. Having, as I've said, psychology is applied to everything. Oh god. Everything that humans do, psychology is a part of. Oh god. There it is. Yep. On the back foot. You need to understand what makes people click on videos. If you want to get to Mr. Beast, you have to understand the rules. Or at least the basic premises. Man, I'm off my game. You don't need a deity to be a good person, in my humble opinion. It is more like a crutch to make things easy when it is hard to stand on your own. That's what I'm saying. I don't think anybody needs a deity to focus on. in order to be a good person. And I would dispute anybody that believes that. I would dispute any claims that an individual might make for that. Simply because I know some great people that are not spiritual at all. Like, my spouse is extremely aspiritual and a-religious and completely against the idea of deities as a whole. And they're one of the most intelligent people I know. On top of having some of the most profound thoughts generally. I'm in an awful spot here. Get me out of here. Let me fight back here again. Oh, carp scale. Wonderful. But yes, I think that spirituality is more of a crutch. It brings the difficulty, the overall difficulty of something down. If you have something to lean on. Whether that's friends, family, I guess God. I've already been down the whole dealing with God pipeline. And I'll say, not again. There are certain... I'll say, there are certain deities that I look to as, God damn it. There are certain deities that I look to as sources of inspiration, for example. But I do not worship them. Okay, well, there it is. Like, Athena, for example. I look to Athena as the goddess of wisdom, and I think, what are wise aspects? What could I do to embody wisdom in my day-to-day? Worship is scary to me. Worship is... I think it's an aspect of what you get out what you put in. And if what you put in is your entire life, I think that may be a certain... I'll say worship is a black hole. In certain ways. You spend time dedicating yourself to, or not just dedicating yourself, but you spend time actively putting effort into something that you will never get something out of. Like, explicitly, it all comes from within anyways. So why why dedicate that time to making an altar for something that isn't real? Worship is scary. It's like the opposite of intellectualism. Yeah, that's kind of where I fall. You know in your heart that there's nothing truly there at the other end. It's like picking up a phone. It's like picking up a phone and just speaking to the static and being like, "Wow, the static really understood me today." Oh, I have another recommendation from you too. There's a guy called Spinoza, who's Einstein's favorite philosopher. He probably came closer than anyone to having me entertain the idea of a deity. Beautiful reading, along with Kant, Schopenhauer. Adding Kant as well, and Spinoza. I think the only thing that you could convince me of is that this is going to sound pretty whack. I think that if there is a God, it is a God that you know what? I don't believe in God. I'm not even going to entertain the thought. No matter, there is nothing that could convince me. It is through sheer happenstance that we, as individuals, reside on this earth. It is through sheer happenstance that this universe was able to create planets that were able to create life. It is through sheer happenstance that the sperm cell that fertilized your mother's egg was able to reach that. God, if there is a God, it is RNG. And the thing about RNG is that it does not care about you. It is going to keep rolling those numbers, and it's going to keep bringing everything together or taking it apart. The only one true known is entropy. At some point, it all evens out. Eventually, philosophy turns into physics. Yeah! It always does. Because if you zoom the lens out to such an extent, you see it is only physics. Aw, man. I was hoping to get the drop on, literally, but that appears to not be the case here. Ouch. Yep, there it is. Physics turns into philosophy. It's a vicious circle. I would agree with that. It always ends up back in the same spot. Much like how, entropy is an inevitability. It always loops back into, oh, magnetite. It always loops back into itself. Like, I've talked about this before. I believe that the Big Bang is... I know that I'm not a philosopher or a physicist, and I want to preface that. I believe that the Big Bang will eventually comes from entropy, and everything, all of the matter in the universe eventually colliding and creating something new once more, reigniting the spark, and then it loops back into everything collapsing again into entropy. Spent way more time in physics, but I've kind of beat it to death. Currently, we're in that weird spot with Copenhagen's interpretation of the wave collapse function particle physics. Do you know what the double slit experiment is? It's a familiar term, but I cannot remember it off the top of my head. I would love for you to enlighten me, Unholy. I was playing Roller Coaster Tycoon recently, and I realized, oh damn, I really should have taken a physics class in high school, or college, or really anywhere. But alas, I'm unenlightened in such ways. You fire a single photon at a board with 2 slits, or you can measure which slit it goes through. That's so familiar, but I cannot remember more than that. You measure what slit it goes through, it acts like a particle, but if you don't, it acts like a wave and interferes with itself. It's baffling to watch. Oh, okay. I remember now. I remember hearing about it at the very least. Basically, the physics world has decided that particles are only particles when you measure them, but waves of probability if you haven't. Yeah, that tracks. That tracks with my understanding. Sorry, I'm thinking on more. And the only thing that I can really take away from it is, yeah, everything's connected. Everything is connected in its own weird way.
Care to purchase
Everything
offering?
loops back in on itself.
Where you find the departed, you'll find the memorial mob. Even those who can't die still have use for offerings. Go ahead.
Always love a whack old man. Ooh, scrap, coin purse, sake? 1800 for the purple gourd. There are obviously competing ideas. Names the pilot wave theory, where there's a hidden variable that decides where the particle goes, and measuring the particle just interferes with the pilot wave, not the particle. So you either have this weirdness of waves turning into particles, or a hidden wave that we can't measure.
Where you find the depart, wherever you're...
Doesn't that loop back into, observation being its own form of interference? Or am I misinterpreting or misunderstanding a different principle? Both are weird, but current science likes the waves turning into particle thing. I mean, my understanding would be exactly that. Just yeah. When you observe stuff, it always messes with things. It's like with my field of, I'll call it minimal expertise. If you know that if you're a part of an experiment, are you going to give answers that you think are going to be authentic, or are you going to give answers that you think may interfere with the results that they're trying to learn? I'd imagine just about everything is that way, though. Pilot wave theory is super deterministic, though no probability. I think that that's where I would disagree. Again, everything has random variable attached to it. Sorry, I'm trying to grind up skill points here, and talking philosophy and physics is the perfect way to occupy the mind while I keep my hands occupied here. I think it's really difficult to say anything is determined, is predetermined, regardless of what field it is. Anything can change at the drop of a hat.
Basket, 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 basket. I am a basket. Hey. Basket, 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 basket. No. Calm down. Are you an honorable person? Yes. Thank goodness. You are an honorable person. Is there something you want to ask? Look, sorry, but if you have questions, I'll have to answer with this basket on my head.
This guy just kind of lost it. If you're writing stuff down, How Quantum Eraser Rewrites the Past by PBS Spacetime. Completely catch you up on existing conundrum in physics and how particles exist. Changed my life, that video. Okay, that's going on the list then. How quantum eraser rewrites the past. PBS. Did somebody just break down a door behind me?
Oh, gotta go, huh? I'll be here, hiding in this basket. Must resist drinking.
Nope, we're still good. I appreciate the philosophy lesson here, Unholy Ghost. I'm but a babe in this field, and also I love to wax philosophical. It's good to have more ammo in the belt for such a thing.
Is there something you want to ask? Look, sorry, but
Sure.
what is wrong with this village? I'd sure like to know that too. Before I knew it, everyone had gone insane. For a while, I too was in a daze, but I snapped out of it after I threw up. I was thirsty, so I drank a lot of sake. I'm sure that's what made me throw up. The head priest sometimes treats us to sake, but you know, when you drink sake, you get thirsty. The sake cask runs dry in no time, so everyone has no choice but to drink the water in the ponds and rivers. But the more you drink it, the thirstier you get. You get thirstier and thirstier, can't ever drink enough. What is wrong with the villagers? No idea. All I know is they all fear fire. For a while, I too was in the same daze, and I felt the fear too. An unquenchable fire. Even now, the thought of it gives me chills.
An unquenchable fire.
The hunter, Inuhiko, started burning pine resin and locked himself in his house. His pine resin burns a long time. It's a real nuisance. Inuhiko is the village outcast. He likes eating wild animal meat and the sort. That's why the head priest doesn't give him any sake.
Where is Inohiko's house?
Oh, on the other side of the pond. Inuhiko's is the last house on the path.
Good information.
Tell me.
He's the most important person in the entire village. You can find him in the shrine, all the way up the riverside, near the water's source. He told us, let us become citizens of the palace. If you drink enough sake, you shall become citizens, he said. Huh? A citizen of the palace? I don't really get it, but that's what he said.
Ah, I see.
Oh, gotta go, huh? I'll be here, hiding in this basket. Must resist drinking.
Thank you, Basket Man. Important information there. Let me out. Thank you.